All right, got to make sure it's recording. Happy Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. This is part 2 of 3 of this current rant in a series I'm calling Nicole Reads Her YouTube Comments. Okay, this one is titled Gay Nazis Torpedoed the U.S. Constitution and World Peace with the 16th Amendment. All right, part 2 of 3. Here we go. Non-gay dumbass morons had a major breakthrough at the end of the 18th century, however, with the creation and ratification of the United States Constitution, thanks mostly to an emotionally stable closeted gay man named Alexander Hamilton, who understood this dynamic between gay Nazis and non-gay dumbass morons better than anybody in history except possibly me. And I understand it so well probably only because Alexander Hamilton and I share the same birthday on January 11th. And I am channeling him in some way, or I am actually him. Hello. But I digress. Okay, so as a direct result of the U.S. Constitution and the fundamental laws of peaceful self-governing it laid out for the first time, the 19th century witnessed the longest-lasting world peace in history, the greatest advances in technology, and the greatest inventions by whoever was best at what they did, instead of whoever was best at who they knew, like today, regardless of race or gender, the way it happens in all true capitalist democracies. Unfortunately, gay Nazis chipped away at the U.S. Constitution throughout the entire 19th century with every method of manipulation possible, including using the most effective anti-black, pro-slavery laws they can think of. In other words, constitutional amendments 13 through 15, to undermine and weaken the Constitution and the U.S. Supreme Court until the gay Nazis finally broke the Constitution completely with the ratification of the 16th Amendment in 1913. The 16th Amendment shot down the most critical of all the fundamental laws of peaceful self-governing. So critical, in fact, the framers listed it as the first law that must be followed at Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. There shall be no taxation without representation. The glasses. This was the final blow, turning the first true capitalist democracy into a socialist/communist/fascist oligarchy run primarily by gay Nazis, where it remains to this day. By the way, the terms socialist, communist, and fascist all describe the same types of non-democratic governments at different stages of unavoidable decay and corruption, which is the only outcome possible when violating the fundamental laws of peaceful self-governing. In contrast to the 19th century, the 20th century witnessed the fleecing of American non-gay dumbass taxpayers by gay Nazis, thanks to the 16th Amendment, to fund both sides of World War I, both sides of World War II, and both sides of every war since. The 16th Amendment also brought on the Great Depression and every economic ill since, and ushered in the age of socialism and corruption as the norm. Violating the laws of peaceful self-governing, as outlined in the original U.S. Constitution before the gay Nazis torpedoed the Constitution with fascist amendments, is nevertheless financially unsustainable. So every government not following these fundamental laws will inevitably degenerate first into socialism and communism. Gotta make sure this is recording. First into socialism and communism, and eventually into fascism before total collapse. In the U.S., the degradation from socialism into fascism began at the turn of the 21st century with the passage of the Patriot Act by non-gay dumbass morons who apparently still do not realize it was desperately imploding gay Nazis who ran 9/11 and who have since bagged $2 trillion over a 20-year period from American taxpayers from what very well may be the most lucrative gay Nazi swamp scam in history. The fake pandemic Holocaust scam, which was run mostly by pharmaceutical swamp gay Nazis, and which has bagged over $200 billion from U.S. taxpayers in just 2 years, would be on pace to surpass the 9/11 scam, which was run mostly by the defense contractor gay Nazi swamp. But I believe the jig is already up on the fake pandemic Holocaust scam, so it should fall short of the 9/11 scam in financial gains, but I digress. All right, I'm hanging in there. I'm starting to sweat. It's starting to get hot. There are currently 4 major gay Nazi swamps in play, controlling non-gay dumbass morons around the world. The pharmaceutical, tobacco, defense contractor, and religion swamps. These swamps may have been in play for centuries, if not millennia, for all I know. So get out there, go get those facts, ladies, and write the real history of the world. In general, the tobacco and pharmaceutical swamps create fake emergencies that instill fear and open the taxpayer pocketbooks for mostly the non-gay dumbass morons in the Democratic Party. For instance, that is liberals and progressives. And the defense contractor and religion swamps create fake emergencies that instill fear and open the taxpayer pocketbooks for mostly the non-gay dumbass morons in the Republican Party or conservatives. This pattern saw at least one exception in 1988, when the gay Nazis running the defense contractor swamp created the global warming scam in order to diversify and instill fear in the non-gay dumbass morons in the liberal parties of the world, instead of just the conservative political parties. In the US, 1988 was an election year, and the gay Nazis from the defense contractor swamp, who had been controlling non-gay dumbass puppet President Ronald Reagan for the past 8 years, felt they were losing power when the Cold War and the fear of Russia, all gay Nazi creations, of course, were waning. They needed a different fear and a different set of non-gay dumbass morons to scare into forking over trillions of taxpayer dollars to them in government contracts. So in came the global warming scam, and in came Democratic non-gay dumbass puppet President Bill Clinton, who also got support from the pharmaceutical and tobacco swamps for another lucrative 8-year run on taxpayer dollars. Right around that time, 1988, in comes the swamp terminator Donald Trump recognized that massive trade imbalances between the US and every other country of the world was a core source of revenue for all 4 swamps on a global scale. Not sure he categorized the swamps the way I do, nor recognized it was gay Nazis running the swamps, but he was aware there was massive corruption going on and massive fleecing of American taxpayers, with money flowing out from the corrupt US Congress to swampy governments across the globe. And by the way, the number one problem causing starvation and other problems worldwide is corruption, in capital letters. And the number one cause of corruption worldwide is that everybody, in capital letters, in the world, including in the US, is taxed by their national governments without representation. Just as the King of England did before the US Revolutionary War, which was an economic revolution, not a social revolution, as the non-gay dumbass morons trained by gay Nazis from the religion swamp like to paint it. Like, quote, "Oh, the first settlers in America fought the Revolutionary War mostly for religious freedoms." Not, but I digress. Okay. Since the 16th Amendment in 1913, the U.S. no longer protects the most fundamental of all fundamental human rights: no taxation without representation. And like any other country that does not follow the fundamental laws of peaceful self-governing, the U.S. must eventually degenerate into fascism and fail. However, at least the U.S. experienced a good 100-year shot at peaceful self-governing before the 16th Amendment in 1913, got a small taste of what it might be like to function under a true capitalist democracy, and is always starving to get back to it in some way. So the U.S. was always, and probably always will be, ahead of every other country in the world economically, since no other country has even had a taste or memory of a true capitalist democracy. Fact is, every other country of the world, including heavily praised socialist countries like Sweden, would otherwise be degenerating into fascism and failing much faster than the U.S. economically, if not for the trade imbalance subsidy with the U.S., to the tune of tens of billions of dollars a year, and in some cases like China, hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Look it up. Provided indirectly to these countries by unwitting U.S. taxpayers through international gay Nazi swamp scams run by Congress, like trade imbalances for one, and scams like the Paris Accord created by the defense contractor swamp for the global warming scam. In an attempt to take down the 16th Amendment and get the United States and the rest of the world back on the right path to inevitable sustained world peace, Swamp Terminator Trump set out to correct the massive trade imbalances with other countries and to end the global scams like the Paris Accord, something that must, in capital letters, be done before the 16th Amendment can fall and before inevitable sustained world peace can be ushered in, with the U.S. showing the way for the rest of the countries of the world. Bottom line is, Donald Trump's actions in renegotiating trade deals and in killing other scammy international agreements is making huge strides toward achieving inevitable sustained world peace. But his actions have also threatened the status quo of corruption and revenue for all four major gay Nazi swamps, of course. This has caused Swamp Terminator Trump to be enemy number one of all four gay Nazi swamps across the globe. Okay, so this is continued in a third of 3 total comments, since this rant is almost 250,000 characters long, which is 2.5 times longer than the 1,000. Okay, it's almost like a... anyway, so living my best life, everything's going to be okay. I'm going to go get a drink of water and then come back for part 3 of 3. And I'm sweating like crazy, which is fine. Oh, let me turn this off. All right, 11 minutes, perfect. All right, bye.